What's up, YouTube and the world? My name's Adam Black from the Click Nation. On that website, we talk about comic books and all comic book related material, including the TV shows, the movies, etc., all the way down the line. And there's been a lot of news over this past week. It all really started about Tuesday or Wednesday this past week, and that was when we received news from Deadline.com stating that the Spider-Man movies going forward would not be featured in the MCU, which is the Marvel Studios shared universe, spreading all across about 23 movies, including two of those were Spider-Man movies. And this is important because this would mean that the Spider-Man movies would basically be produced now by Sony, who is the rights holder for the Spider-Man movie right. So today, currently Disney is in the middle of their big expo weekend called D23. And it's basically an expo where the company can tout what's about to come out, what it's got planned for the coming year. The big thing is Disney Plus. But I'm going to do a video about that, talking about the stuff that's coming from Marvel Studios as part of the Disney Plus service that was announced over the weekend at D23. But what wound up happening is that Tom Holland, who stars in the MCU movies as Spider-Man Peter Parker, he made an official statement regarding the situation going on with Sony. And during a press junket where he was interviewed by People and Entertainment Weekly, he basically said, and to quote him, he said, basically, we've made 5 great movies. It's been 5 amazing years. I've had the time of my life. Who knows what the future holds, but all I know is that I'm going to continue playing Spider-Man and having the time of my life. It's going to be so fun, however we choose to do it. The future for Spider-Man will be different, but it will be equally as awesome and amazing, and we'll find new ways to make it even cooler. Kevin Feige, the Marvel executive producer, who's basically been the driving force behind all the Marvel Studio movies since the beginning, he basically has issued a public statement about it, and this is coming from Deadline.com as well. I'm feeling about Spider-Man gratitude and joy, Feige said, speaking of D23's, speaking at the Entertainment Weekly booth. We got to make 5 films within the MCU with Spider-Man, 2 standalone movies and 3 with the Avengers. It was a dream that I never thought would happen. It was never meant to last forever. We knew that there was a finite amount of time that we'd be able to do this, and we told the story we wanted to tell, and I'll always be grateful for that. And so with that, a lot of people are basically saying that this is where everyone assumed that this was the final nail in the coffin. And you see earlier this week, supposedly, thanks to Deadline, basically Disney wanted to rework the contract that they had with Sony to where they would get a 50-50 co-finance deal. And Sony decided to walk away and decided at this point that they would try and pursue it on their own, as far as we know. There could always be a chance that they're going to try and refinance this deal. But before, I just wanted to do this video kind of as a way to ease everyone's fears and anger right now. There's bans right now saying that, hey, I'm gonna ban Sony products. I'm not gonna buy a PlayStation. I'm not gonna buy any more. I'm not gonna see any Sony movie. I'm not gonna buy $300 headphones. I'm gonna go get those Bose headphones and that type of thing. And at this point, I'm gonna quote Aaron Rodgers and just tell everyone to please just relax. I mean, come on. We don't know anything as far as the deal goes. I know a lot of people are angry. I'm very disappointed. I did want Spider-Man to continue in the MCU, but for right now, everyone just relax and let's see what happens. You never know, the deal could be worked out and we could continue with Tom Holland and appearing in Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. And you know, that's what I want to say, at least at this part. Let's relax. Let's just bring it back and just relax, and we're going to get some good movies. And here's the thing, Sony has been able, the reason I feel Sony wants to do this on their own, and the reason they probably really feel that it wasn't Marvel Studios producing these movies. Sony had a very equal hand in the movie process. It just took Marvel's involvement to really push these movies over. And with that being said, I would hope that Sony would say, look, we've got a good thing going with Marvel Studios and Disney. Let's try and figure out the best deal that's going to work best in our best interest, because Sony needs to make movies and it needs to make a lot more money. Because remember, according to the information that I've managed to find online, Sony does not own the merchandising rights to Spider-Man. Marvel does in whole. So all they can make money off of is the movies. So they're going to want to make the most money they can off of the movies. Marvel's deal is actually for a 5%. Hold on one second while I find that term. They make 5% on first dollar gross, which basically means they're going, and I'm trusting a source that's great on the internet called Wikipedia. For the most part, it basically means that Marvel Studios gets a 5% gross box office revenue from the film, starting from the film's first day of release in theaters. So that means basically that avoids the whole practice of, well, we don't know if a movie made a profit, that Hollywood math part. Basically what it's saying is that Marvel makes 5% of the total box office gross from the movies, which is a lot. I mean, the last Spider-Man Far From Home, which is an MCU movie, made $1 billion, and which it has now become Sony's top grossing film of all time, topping Skyfall. Is now Skyfall's number 2. So they're going to make a lot of money regardless, but Sony, all they can do is make money from the movies and that type of thing, and whatever Spider-Man video game, but that's another story. But yeah, Sony probably really feels like they can do it now. They've got and the one thing about it that will probably prove true is that Sony has a lot of momentum going right now, so they feel that they can really go ahead and do some more Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland. I'm still in the dark as far as the contract that Tom Holland has signed. I've heard many rumors saying that that he's down for another 2, and the director is down for another 1 at least, and I'm getting stuff from all over. I'm not 100% sure what's the actual deal. Probably a website or a YouTube channel like Midnight's Edge will probably really reveal that. That's where we are right now. So a lot of people are considering it official that the Marvel deal is done, that the movies produced for the next Spider-Man movies will be from Sony, which is a shame, but I'm actually confident that maybe a deal will get signed. And either way, hey, Marvel, I believe, will do fine. Now, here's one thing. Marvel could really use Spider-Man, as far as Marvel Studios could really use Spider-Man. You know, with Avengers Endgame, you no longer have Captain America around. As far as making a Captain America movie, you no longer have Iron Man around. So having a guaranteed bankable star like Spider-Man really helps the brand. On the other hand, Marvel Studios managed to release a series of movies, where the linchpin, the cornerstone of the movie was Iron Man. Let that sink in. Had you told me back in 2008, before Iron Man came out, that we were going to see a franchise that Iron Man would basically kickstart into, like basically a huge franchise that other studios are still trying to replicate to this day, I would have told you you're a damn liar. I'll just say that. But you never know. And we've got a whole slate of projects and movies coming out, brand new heroes. So the future is looking okay right now. I think we're pretty good. Now, originally I was going to end the video there, but I thought about some more stuff. I do want to add the scenario that could happen. Sony is basically more than likely going to put Tom Holland's Spider-Man into their new Sony verse. You can even call it the Venom verse, because last year they released Venom and basically made about $800 million. So the fear that a lot of fans had about the deal coming to an end is that basically they were going to back end Tom Holland into their own Sony Spider-Verse. They may have to do a soft reboot, considering if they go forward with this plan, they can no longer use anything from the MCU. Can't mention Iron Man, can't mention pretty much anything that happened during that time period, unless it's with the characters that Sony does have the rights to. So that's a fear that fans had, and more likely is what's going to happen. There's supposed to be some announcement coming at any time, but we'll probably know in the coming days. Hopefully, again, I want a deal to be reached. Now, the other thing that we need to consider, and as Marvel fans, they are probably actually secretly hoping for this, is that there is a chance that in the coming years, maybe not even within 5 years, someone I was talking to mentioned maybe within 5 years, and maybe even sooner, there's a chance that Sony will be eventually gobbled up by some other corporate entity. It couldn't be Disney, just because of the fact of, you know, they're already too big with the Fox acquisition, and there's no chance they could buy Sony Pictures. Once you do that, you're definitely walking into the monopoly talk. Now, the plus of Sony getting bought by another company is that if Sony gets bought, the assets that they've acquired, like Spider-Man, the rights to those to any properties that they don't own, do not follow them to their new corporate home. In that regard, Spider-Man, all the rights would revert back to Disney, and they wouldn't have to pay anything out for them. So that's a plus about being bought. And there's always been rumors that Comcast, or like the biggest rumor is Apple, may purchase Sony sometime in the future. The other option, I believe Sony, there was like a website that reported Sony reportedly wants $10 billion for the actual Spider-Man rights. And I doubt anyone, I mean, even Disney, even if they could do that to get one character back, I doubt they'll want to do it, even though we know Sony now, or Disney, has a lot of money and could easily do that. But nah, I just don't think that's a viable option right now. It's just not. There's just no way you could actually do that and pull it off. That's all I got. My name's Adam Black from the Click Nation. I hope you enjoyed that. If you stuck to the end of this video, thank you. If you liked the content, I plan on doing more content, but a lot of the other videos I'm going to do, besides deep dives and thoughts, it's going to just be centered on the comic books themselves as we talk about it. I've got a ton of plans as far as, you know, trying to explain to you the different characters that came out of D23, the different new series coming from Marvel. But I've been rambling on for a bit, so please take care, y'all. Enjoy. Thank you for watching.
Holy cow, you will not believe what's been going on. Do you remember when we were in space? And I got all dusty, and I must have passed out because I woke up and you were gone, but Dr. Strange was there, right? And he was like, it's been 5 years, come on, they need us. And then he started doing the yellow sparkly thing that he does all the time. What are you doing? Oh, this is nice.